So who is this Buddha fella? Well, first of all, Buddha's not his name. Buddha is a title. It means one who is awake. He was actually born a prince, and it all starts with his mum, Queen Maya. And she has a dream. She dreams of a beautiful white elephant with many tusks that appears in a cloud above her. It showers her with lotus petals, and then the elephant circles around before disappearing into her. When the queen wakes up the next day, she goes to the wise person and says, "What did my dream mean?" And he interprets it as, "You're going to have a son." And the queen is delighted. She's been wanting a baby for a while. Just have to point out though, the elephant does not impregnate her. Just clarify. Time for the queen to have her baby, she sets off on a journey. It's tradition for women to go back to the place of their birth to have their children. But on the way, she sees an amazing grove called Lumbini Grove. It's so beautiful and flowers everywhere. She stops to rest and admire the beauty. And it's here where her baby, Prince Siddartha, pops out. It's quite an unusual birth in the fact that the baby takes 7 steps, and every step a lotus flower springs up. And he also speaks. He says, "This will be my last life." Meanwhile, back at the palace, the king gets word that he has a son, and he prepares the wise man Isita to come and read the baby's horoscope. Isita looks at the baby and sees these incredible marks, birthmarks, that are signs of the great the great promise of this baby. And he says, "Oh, this kid is either going to be a great king, or he'll give up everything and become a Buddha." There is some sadness in the story. The queen dies just 1 week after giving birth, and Siddartha's auntie steps in and raises the child as her own. The king makes sure that Siddartha lives in absolute luxury. He does not want him to leave this palace. He wants him to stay and rule the kingdom. So he makes sure that the boy grows up with absolutely everything he could want. He has friends brought in, he has all these gardens to play in, he has many palaces, so many toys. Every bit of food that he could wish for is brought to him. As he gets older, the king arranges for him to marry a beautiful princess, and the boy lives in a state of perfect, blissful ignorance. Sometime around the age of 30, Siddartha does get curious, and he wonders what's outside the palace walls. He asks his father, "Dad, if I'm going to rule this kingdom one day, really I ought to know what it looks like and, meet some of the people." And his dad, panic-stricken at this point, is like, "Yes, of course, son, of course, but let's give the villagers time to just make a big party for your arrival, get it all looking good. You wouldn't want them to feel embarrassed if you just turn up, future ruler of the country and everything." The starter says, "Yeah, that's a good idea." And the king scurries away into the nearest village, and he puts all the healthiest people in one part of the town. He says, "Okay, so when the prince comes through, you all wave, you all smile at him, you all look as happy as you possibly can be. I do not want my son seeing any suffering. So all you old people, all you ill people, anybody with a bit of disfigurement, everybody inside, don't come out. If you do, there will be trouble." And the king gives him some money and some nice clothes, and off he goes. So the day comes when Siddartha has to leave the palace for the first time. And he has a really good friend and trusted servant. Friend and servant, I guess, for the prince as usual. He's called Channa. Channa drives the chariot. So Channa gets the chariot ready. And they head off into town. And sure enough, the pre-arranged route is full of cheering, smiling, happy, healthy people. Yes, but Siddartha, he's gonna rule our village one day. And Siddartha goes, this is great. My kingdom is absolutely awesome. Hey, everybody, I'm the prince. I'm the prince. You look good. And then all of a sudden, something comes crawling out of the doorway. What the F is that? Siddartha is shocked. This figure has grey hair, it has no teeth, and its face is all wrinkled. Its back is bent up, its fingers in claws. Oh, what is it? Channa, what is it? Channa looks at Siddartha. What do you mean? Siddartha is appalled. What is it? What's wrong with it? Oh, it's an old person. You know, it happens to all of us. You get wrinkles, your teeth fall out, get a bit of arthritis. Siddartha is truly disturbed by this thought. His perfect prison involved no old people. This is the first time he's seen old age. This is one of what we call the four sights. This is the first sight. Channa thinks the prince is a little bit silly here, but he carries on driving. It's not long before Siddartha is suspicious, says, don't take this well-lit route up ahead. Let's go down this side street. Let's see a little bit more of my kingdom. And Channa does what he says, and he goes down until they hear, oh, 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 oh. And they come across a very sick person. It was probably blood poisoning from the description. This person's got like patches and welts on them. There might have been leprosy, could have been some sort of fever, food poisoning, who knows. But this guy is really ill. And Siddartha's singing voice is terrible. I don't like it at all. Channa looks at him again. We just had that conversation about old people. Yeah, well, this is a sick person, and most people get sick. The legends say that Siddartha never got sick a day in his life. And Siddartha says, what do you mean sick? And Channa says, he's in pain. His stomach hurts him. That's why he cries out. He's not singing. This is a cry of pain. And Siddartha now is actually really sad. He doesn't want people to be in pain, and he's never experienced anything like this. And he's really suspicious of his dad. It's like, what else have you been keeping from me? And Channa sets the route, and they go back to the palace, but on the way they pass a funeral procession. The body has been wrapped and prepared for cremation. And of course, in India, cremation takes place in public. It's on a big funeral pyre. And Siddartha now is stopped in his tracks. Why isn't this person moving? Why doesn't he wake up? And Channa has to explain to him, this is death that will come to us all. And Siddartha is heartbroken. You mean this will happen to my wife, my father, to me, to you, dear Channa? And Channa says, yep, death comes for everybody. For Siddartha, it's like a curtain's opened, or he's escaped into some other reality that he doesn't like. And he says, take me back to the palace. And he's silent all the way home.